So, director Rian Johnson has effectively come out and confirmed something which we speculated / knew, but now we can say with utmost certainty, is that Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, Disney announce projects, just out and out announce them when they're not remotely confirmed. There's nothing there. They're not even remotely set in stone. There's nothing. There's no basis for an announcement. Very, very, very irritating. It's a nice mask-off moment, I think. Again, it's something we all knew, obviously. I say knew. We all speculated, but it was an educated extrapolation based on the data. You know, many films being announced, none of them coming to fruition. It seemed fairly obvious, patently obvious, actually, that they kept announcing them pretty much immediately before earnings calls. It would, whether it's in an effort to boost the stock, who knows, but it seemed pretty obvious, and now this is effectively confirmed. Because director Rian Johnson has come out and said, yeah, it was all very conceptual in terms of his trilogy, the Star Wars trilogy, that he was announced to be doing. And this announcement kept being reiterated over the years. And here he confirms that there was no story. So there was no story, there was no script, there was no treatments, there was nothing. Actually, nothing there at all. Just conversations. So I thought we'd dive into this. It's quite comical, I think. Please do hit subscribe if you are new here. Turn the bell notifications on. So, the Star Wars The Last Jedi writer and director Rian Johnson has discussed his unmade Star Wars trilogy. And he explained how far it came to happening and whether he had a story in place for the 3 movies. Spoiler alert, no he didn't. Again, confirming something we all speculated and can now say with certainty. So, Star Wars The Last Jedi split the franchise's fan base, but it was still a critical and commercial hit, which is just mental to think. $1.3 billion at the box office and a 91% Rotten Tomatoes score. Not from audiences, though, I don't think. The Rotten Tomatoes score is not from audiences. With that in mind, it's no wonder Disney and Lucasfilm wasted no time in signing Rian Johnson up to take the helm of a brand new trilogy of movies. So plot details were never revealed, meaning we didn't find out which era of this galaxy far, far away Johnson intended to explore. Fans were mixed on the prospect of seeing more Star Wars from writer-director, and the trilogy became yet another unmade project on Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy's watch. It was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. The chances of these things happening, because we actually have a ratio, to be fair, because they've announced more movies. No, they've announced more movies than they've cancelled, or they've cancelled more movies than they've announced. It's just dumb. So Johnson's attentions eventually shifted to his Knives Out movies and a lucrative deal with Netflix that means he's now putting the finishing touches to the upcoming 3rd installment of the Daniel Craig-led murder mystery franchise. So he spoke to Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone's a cesspit at the moment, by the way. But anyway, Johnson elaborated on his Star Wars trilogy and why it hasn't come to fruition. So he said nothing really happened with it. So nothing happened with it. We had a great time working together. This is for The Last Jedi. And they said, let's keep doing it. I said, great. I kick ideas around with Kathy. And the short version is Knives Out then happened. So, basically, they did The Last Jedi. Kathleen Kennedy was like, well, let's keep working together. So he was like, yep, absolutely, would love that. He began chucking ideas to Kathleen Kennedy. They started speaking about it. But she never greenlit anything. Even though they announced it, she never greenlit anything. And so then he went off and did Knives Out. I went off and made Knives Out and was off to the races, busy making murder mysteries. It's the sort of thing, if, down the line, there's an opportunity to do it or do something else in Star Wars, I'd be thrilled. But right now, I'm just doing my own thing. I'm pretty happy. My own stuff, sorry. Misquote. Johnson clarified that his trilogy was all very conceptual, confirming that he never developed outlines or a treatment or anything. What? So this thing that was announced... They didn't even have any outline, no treatment, no stories, nothing. They announced something, and Rian Johnson was just like, yeah, all right, Kathy, we'll chit-chat about it, I guess. What is wrong with these idiots? I said this time and time again, this is the worst thing. There's been a weird inversion in Hollywood on how things are announced. Right? They announce a movie before they've even got, oftentimes, a writer, a director. They'll even give it a release date, but they've got nothing. They've got nothing there at all. And in the case of Star Trek, for instance, they didn't even have a cast. Do you remember that weird time? Weird time. That, was it Paramount? I think it's Paramount, if I remember rightly. Paramount announces that they were going to do a brand new Star Trek movie. And, like, Chris Pine was like, what? This is news to me. Am I involved? What's going on? So it was like Zachary Quinto. Everyone was like, are we? What? What's going on here? Disney's just as bad, obviously. They announce movies, and Hollywood in general announces films with a release date without script, without directors, without writers. Marvel, we're seeing that from Marvel now as well. We've seen that from Marvel many times now. They'll announce a movie, give it a release date, and they don't even have a script. I mean, this is the same for Blade, right? Blade, they announced the release date for that movie, announced the cast, and then they're just like, psych, we're not making this film. I mean, we're going to try, but there's no guarantee, actually. Soz bro. What a joke. What an absolute clown show. Whereas before, that wasn't it. They'd make a movie, they'd shoot it, and then they're like, oh, guys, we've made this film, we're going to release it. I mean, at least, like, get things locked in, for goodness sake. It says this, it's starting to feel like the same could be said for the 3 features announced at Star Wars Celebration in 2023. Dave Filoni's crossover movie is clearly still a long way off, whilst work on Sharmina Bay-Chinoy's Rey movie and James Mangold's First Jedi story seems to be going nowhere. Yeah. And for what it's worth, Kennedy recently hinted at a new approach to Star Wars storytelling on the big screen. Says, I really think that now we're in a position where it's broadened the possibility of stories and filmmakers we can bring in to tell stories that mean something to them. It doesn't necessarily have to connect to every little thing that's been done in Star Wars. It can actually be a standalone story that then builds into many, many other stories. I mean, sure, whatever. This is dumb. But so funny. Like, what a mask-off moment. Yeah, we did. Yeah, they announced it, but we didn't have anything. At all. Mad. Madness.